misconception or maybe misinformation that is often shared, especially in the real estate investing world. So as a real estate investor, I've been through all the courses, all the different seminars, and they all teach put everything in a trust for asset protection. But talking with my friend Heidi over here, who's my favorite attorney, that may not actually protect you as much as everybody thinks. Tell me a little bit more about that, Heidi.
Sure. So the standard revocable living trust, which is what most people have when they have a trust, they have a, they might call it the family trust or the living trust, but it's usually a revocable living trust. Revocable means you can change it during your lifetime. Living means it doesn't die, so it doesn't go to probate court.
Oh, not you living, the trust.
The trust is living. Yeah. So and you created it during your life. Right?
Okay.
So but it's a living trust. So that's the standard. With that, because you are in all three roles during your lifetime, you're the one that created the trust. Mm-hmm. You're the trustee managing it, mm-hmm. and you're the beneficiary of it. It's really kind of a freaky contract you did with yourself. It's like you put $10 in this hand and put it into this hand and said, okay, there's my trust.
Okay.
I'm going to hold this $10 for myself. That's really what you did when you created a trust. So because of that, it's even though it is its own entity, it's still a very see-through one. It's still you.
Okay.
So creditors can still get at you, even though things are in a trust, even though the things are titled in the name of the trust, because it's still you. So, if people go and put your name into the Maricopa County search for property, they're going to see the properties you own, even though they're in the name of the trust. They're going to see the names of the trust. Okay. There's really not any hidden protection you're going to get from that.
Now, what about on an irrevocable trust?
Okay, those are a whole different monkey.
Okay.
Only a handful of attorneys really do irrevocable trusts anymore. They were very big in the 1990s when there was only $1 million tax exclusion for families.
Okay.
And back then people would do these irrevocable trusts. The problem with an irrevocable trust is it's irrevocable. You don't get to change it during your lifetime. So people that did this, they created a trust that they assign things where they're no longer in all three roles. So those do provide some level of asset protection.
Okay.
But they also are very limiting to what you can do with them after the fact. So if you have changes about who the beneficiaries are going to be, well, tough luck. Okay. You're going to have to pay a lot to an attorney to do what's called decanting.
Okay, so if you set up an irrevocable trust to protect your assets and you're the beneficiary and you die, what happens? Where does it go?
It goes according to the terms of that trust, just as it does with the revocable trust. The difference is it was one you couldn't change during your lifetime.
Okay, but there's other levels of beneficiaries if that were the case.
Always,
okay.
Yes.
So then, what would truly be the the benefit of having an irrevocable trust? And we're talking people who typically have multi-million dollars of real estate, right? This is not going to be something that you're going to set up if you're buying 1 or 2 rental houses, even up to 10, 12 rental houses, right? But if you're going to set up a very large portfolio, this is what they suggest inside a lot of these different real estate seminars. So what is the true benefit and what are the true risks that are associated with this? Who would you recommend this to?
Excellent. That's a great question. So I would say if you're going to have more than $4 million in real estate, and I think that's a good target line, you can have conversations a little above, a little below. Okay. You want to start looking at your other options for asset protection. The obvious one is if you have an LLC for each property, you've already got a fair amount of great protection that was very affordable. You can form an LLC in Arizona for $85, then open up a checking account for it. As long as you do your annual meeting minutes, make sure you do your annual meeting minutes. As long as you do that and you run it as a business through its own checking account, you've already got protection. If you get sued, they're only going to get to that asset if that was the one you were sued in. Someone slips and falls, they can sue that LLC. That's the only thing they can sue.
But they can't go after your personal
They can't go after your personal things at all.
So then it seems unnecessary, like you said, unless you're over $4 million in assets.
If you're over $4 million, that's when we start looking at creative trusts. I have a client right now that's worth tens of millions. And we'll leave it there. And he's actually doing an offshore trust. Now that's not something I do myself. This is something very often in the Cook Islands or someplace like that where they do have all kinds of asset protection. And it keeps the law tied to there instead of in the United States. So if someone in California sues you, well, now they're still using Cook Islands law. If someone in Massachusetts sues you, they're still using Cook Islands law. It provides some protection you don't get here in Arizona. But
Okay.
if you're not at least a 4 millionaire, we should not be having those conversations. We should be having conversations about LLCs for your investment properties. And LLCs are super easy. If you need help with that, that's something I help with. So.
They really are very, very, very easy. But okay, so I can see the benefit of having creative trust opposed to irrevocable trust. Again, irrevocable is a very specific word. It means you cannot change it. So at least if you have creative trust, you have the ability to still change it should things happen or potentially. Okay. I love this. Thank you very much for that. So if you are looking at asset protection, definitely reach out to Heidi. One thing we definitely want to make very, very clear on this, guys, every single situation is different. Every person is different. This is why you need to call and get real advice from your attorney. This is simply legal education.
Thank you.
Just so that you know what options may be out there and what questions maybe to ask your attorney. My suggestion, though, is that you call Heidi because she's one of the smartest attorneys that I've ever found. And she is creative and she is connected. So if there's something that is more challenging for her, something that she just doesn't do in her wheelhouse, she definitely has a network of people that can help you. So make sure that you reach out to your attorney and get real specific legal advice to you. Right?
Excellent.
Perfect. Did I say that well?
You were perfect.
Okay, perfect. Good disclaimer there for you. And it will be at the bottom too because we are talking about very, very kind of high level stuff. And again, the situation can be specific to any individual person, right? So the more you know.
The more you know.
The more you know, the more questions you can ask.
And we like that. We love the what if questions and have you thought about questions. Those for both of us. We just had this conversation. They fuel us.
Yes. Love it. Love, love, love it. Yeah, if you ever just want to have a great conversation with Heidi, just call her up about any topic in the world and ask what if, and you'll make a new friend.
That's true.
Well, thank you very much today for being here today, Heidi. I really appreciate it. My name is Margina with eXp Realty.
And I'm Heidi Thompson with Lifeguarding Legacies.